Hey, just had to share some ideas around the topic of coachsulting. I know I'm not the only one that's come up with the term, but it's the best way to describe what I do with clients. And there's a couple things that came up today with a client that I don't know make me want to share this stuff with you guys of how, as your business grows, how to let others help you grow it. So, coachsulting is the best of coaching and advice and guidance and encouragement with the best of consulting, which gets into implementation, strategy, um, recruiting, funnels, all that stuff around implementation that it takes to grow a company. And so a lot of times consultants come in, deliver a widget or a service, hand it back on a silver platter, and you didn't learn much, you didn't find out much. Whereas with coaching, you're just being told what to do, but there's no extra bandwidth to help take some of the burden off of your plate. And so I found Coachsulting, some people call it done with you, um, is the best way to help business owners grow because there's just not enough resources in the company to make sure that the new ideas and the new strategies are being implemented that the coach or consultant is coming up with. And I think the biggest thing that I see that's the challenge for me as somebody in that coaching consulting role is that giving advice is easy. That so much of the time as a consultant or a coach, it's really easy to tell somebody what you think is best, but until you get into the weeds and get into the nitty gritty of what actually is going on inside a company, what systems are actually being used, what integrations there are between disparate systems, whether it's all the funnel stuff of landing page tools and email management systems and websites and then help desk and project management or CRM and integrating all of that stuff. As an advisor looking from the outside, I can't tell you exactly what to do because I don't know what's going to break if you do one thing and then the ripple effect causes something downstream to break. And so that's why I get in and roll up my sleeves and look at your systems or look at your code or get into interviewing your staff or figuring out what actually is going on because so many visionary business owners think, oh, well, it's being taken care of, it's details I don't care about. But when we roll up our sleeves and actually inspect what's going on, a lot of times, 90, maybe only 99% of the time, there's stuff going on that staff are doing that it's not bad. It's not that they're stupid or idiotic or malignant or malicious or anything like that. It's just they don't see the whole picture. They're not as strategic as the visionary business owner. And so they do things that are very inefficient, a lot of duplicate effort, a lot of majoring in the minors, a lot of overemphasizing stuff that just doesn't matter, paperwork, processes, rules, regulations, stuff like that, that's not moving the needle. And so it's not until I get in and inspect with the owner that we've brainstormed something better. It usually takes a half an hour to an hour to come up with some really great strategic solution that not only makes the employee's job easier, but also solves three or four other strategic objectives. Like maybe it's we get information back that helps us set up the implementation team or the client fulfillment team better, or we get a piece of information sooner that makes fulfillment easier. And it also is a commitment step when the client commits to one specific piece instead of 100 requirements, that then the rest falls into place. And so, as a coachsultant, that's not anything I label myself as, but it's in the context of this video. The hardest part is the unwillingness of the owner to roll up their sleeves and dig in, or to have things be inspected, or if something breaks while we're updating it, to not freak out. And my best clients are the ones that just roll with the punches and are open and coachable, and willing to solve the problem, whatever happens, because problems happen through growth. That's just how it works. Everything breaks at some point when we're growing, And whether it's our regular life, like growing muscles, or when we're growing as kids, growing pains in our shins, growth hurts. Growth causes sorts of damage, whether you're growing your muscles in your body and you're tearing down the muscle fiber and you're growing that, or you're growing parts of your brain, new synapses. I remember when I was learning classical guitar a few years ago, and I've played guitar for years, but learning and sight reading classical guitar, and I would look at my left hand and I knew what I wanted it to do, but I couldn't get it to do what I wanted to do because it was literally creating new pathways in my brain, and it was painful going through that process. But anyway, I think the biggest encouragement I have for you guys as you look to grow your business, as you look to find somebody to help you grow it, whether it's a friend, a peer in a mastermind group, a mentor, an advisor, a consultant, a coach, whatever, ready your mind to be willing to roll up your sleeves and have everything inspected. It's the best way to get to the root cause of stuff. It's the best way for them to really give input and advice. I had a friend, Peter Lang, a few years ago. He gave me a great piece of advice. He's got a great marketing agency, digital marketing agency, and we were working with a mutual client. That's how we met, was through this mutual client, and I didn't know the limitations of that client because I wasn't looking at their code, and they were developing a pretty robust app, and the visionary owner said, oh, we can do this and that, and I'd run ideas by him and technical capabilities for the app of notifications or whatever to users. And Peter said in the meeting, he said, what you asked of them was the same as asking an average Joe off the street to do a windmill 360 reverse dunk on a 10-foot rim. It was so far out of their capabilities, and it was a great idea. It was very innovative, and it didn't seem that far advanced for me with some of the code work I'd done with other companies. But for this particular client, their developers were pretty basic, and it threw a big wrench in the works. And the owner, the visionary owner, never really looked at the code. He didn't understand it. So of course he just minimizes it. Oh yeah, that's easy. We can do anything. You send it, we'll do it. And obviously it never got implemented. And that's the biggest problem I have of being in the consulting space, or purely coaching space, I should say, of just throwing ideas out at people. Is it's easy to come up with them, but if you don't know how they integrate into the company, and they don't integrate into the resources and the capabilities and the growth path and the market objectives and all that stuff, the chance of them getting implemented is very low. And there's no point, to me, sharing an idea that doesn't get implemented is like the idea never existed. It's like saying those who can read but don't read are no different than those that are illiterate. Or those who can read but don't are no different than those who are illiterate. It's the same thing with ideas. At the end of the day, implementation's king. And if you're not submitting yourself to either reviewing the stuff yourself and inspecting it and doing the hard work, or you're not bringing in an outside party to help look over your shoulder or ask the right questions of what needs to be inspected and how to inspect it and how to look at it and how to improve it and how to build off of it and how to analyze the numbers and what the next step is, you're just going to be spinning your wheels, and you're going to keep hitting the same plateau you've been hitting and have the same frustrations you've been having for a long time. And you'll keep blaming your staff, who, whether it's turnover or attitude or whatever, it's the same old if you're not willing to really dig in and inspect. So that's the benefits of Coachsulting. In my opinion, it's also the challenge, is that a lot of people don't want to be inspected. A lot of people don't want to be reviewed or held accountable. And at the end of the day, I can't work harder than they are, than anybody is in their own business. There's no point in me fighting business owners to help them. So leave a comment. Let me know if you have any questions about what to inspect in your business, what your next steps are. That's what I do all day, is look at companies and figure out what the next best step is. That's what the bottleneck breakthrough method is. And it's the fastest path to growth. It's the lowest risk. It's the easiest way to reduce your frustration and get to the next plateau, get past your current plateau that you're running into. And it works every time, every single time. So hope you enjoyed this. Leave a comment. I'd love feedback, anybody's questions, happy to answer them. And I'm going to leave a nice little smile here to see if Facebook Live will grab it as a thumbnail because they won't let us upload additional thumbnails. Have a great day.